kind of just get out of your head and take action.
And here's what I also say, action is the antidote to fear.
Following through and being accountable to yourself.
And then acting like that person just a little bit every day, filtering it through decisions.
Right? Of like everything is figure-outable.
Yeah. So I will say, if you are a morning person, make sure you see the sunrise.
Welcome to the Feel Good Club podcast. This is the place where ambitious working moms learn how to elevate their well-being, increase success in all areas, and create a positive, aligned life. Whether you're here to hear expert interviews or inspiring talks, this is your space to learn and grow. I'm Tia Graham, keynote and TED speaker, best-selling author, and founder of the Feel Good Club community for high-achieving moms. I am an expert in the science of happiness. This show is here to help you feel grounded, happier, and connected to yourself and others. I know you are going to love it. Thank you for being here. Let's dive in.
Hi, Lesley. Great to have you here today.
Oh my God, Tia, this is going to be a lot of fun. I miss your face. I miss your gorgeous smile.
Aw, thank you. Well, I'm so excited to talk with you. And you have a lot of exciting things going on, which I've been seeing like bits and pieces of. But let's just get started. So the first question I have is, this podcast and this show is for really busy, overwhelmed, stressed out, crazy, busy working moms who have little ones at home, plus they're growing their careers, whether they're an entrepreneur or they're working in a company. And I know that you have a very full plate at all times too. And so the first question I have is, how do you make sure that no matter what is going on, you prioritize movement, you prioritize your well-being, you prioritize what's good for you as you are running this super big business? How do you make sure that in your calendar, there's time for what makes you feel good?
Oh, I love this question. And I aside from the mom part, I feel every part of the listener who is listening to this. Like, I feel lots of dreams, lots of ambitions, lots of capabilities, the person who everyone gives everything to because you'll just get it done. Like, I feel the stress and the desire and all of that. And I will just say, like, while I don't have children, I do believe what I say will help you in a way that, like, hopefully makes you think of things in a little bit different light. My parents did not prioritize themselves first. And because of that, I am seeing how that's affected their life today. My mom is very young for a mom of, I'm 43 and she's only in her early 60s. So, and she has health issues. Young. Yeah, young. Health issues that, knowing what I know now in the health and fitness world, a lot of those could have been prevented with just making sure that she did simple movement practices to keep muscles and joints strong. And it didn't help their marriage by not prioritizing themselves first. And it did. So I will just say, like, I have a friend who's a mother of 5, and she has said to me, actions are caught, not taught. And I really do believe that. And so most of the women that I work with and help, they have children. They're very busy too. So I understand this. And I will say, you have to, I don't know that you're teaching your children much if you teach them that your world revolves around them. I think that they do need to see that there is a time in their life where they are a priority of themselves. I think that's important. Now, if they are any kind of special needs, if they're infants, if they cannot feed themselves, is a whole different story. But I will say, there are different stages in being a mom, of course. And so you do what you can do, and you keep in mind that you want to be the mom and hopefully the grandmother to their children who can keep up with the life that they have. And the only way you can do that is if you actually put yourself first. And that does not mean hours at the gym. In fact, I'm really saddened by this change in how fitness is being shown, that there's like Pilates girlies doing 2 classes a day and all this stuff. You should not be able to do 2 classes of Pilates ever in a row. I cannot. So I really want to say, like, you start with what you can do. If it's 5 minutes, you do 5 minutes and you protect those 5 minutes. And then that 5 minutes becomes 10 minutes. And if you're telling me, oh, it's not worth it, because I know my recovering perfectionists and overachievers, you're like, 5 minutes is a waste. It's not enough. it is actually something. And if you are doing that for yourself, it becomes 10 and 20, and it becomes an easier thing to protect because you start to realize how much you feel better. And it does mean asking for help, and it does mean delegating something off, and it does mean maybe bringing the kids along to do whatever you're doing. It does mean maybe you love going to a class, but you're going to do it at home. Look, you do what you can do, but you will, I promise you, the life you want to have with your children, where you're keeping up and having a lot of fun, you have these great memories, it comes from prioritizing you first, because you being tired, exhausted, and unfortunately deconditioned does not allow for you to have that generous love and energy you want to have with them.
Yes, yes, and yes. And I really appreciate that you connected to your future self. I move consistently so that I stay sane, right? And that so I feel well, and that I have the energy and a more positive, optimistic mindset. And I do. One of my children is special needs, and so yes, it definitely takes way more time. But I know that I'm a better mom now. I'm a better wife, human, and it's like good for me now. But I think what you said about the future self, right? I think with kids and work, everything feels so all-consuming now, and the listener is super time poor, extremely time poor, but really connecting to who do you want to be in your 60s, in your 70s, in your 80s, and it's kind of like investing for retirement. It's like the same thing. It's like boring, not fun, takes time. This isn't like the sexy stuff, but it's so, so important. And I think we don't connect to our older selves enough.
I think it's because, honestly, I'm sure it's exhausting, and no one wants to think about that part of their life anyways. It's so far down the road. But I'm sure you have listeners who are in that sandwich generation of having young kids and having old parents who are getting older, and like, you are time poor. But the actual thing about energy is you don't get energy, you have it. And you have it like the way, like energy gets energy. And like when you move your body, it increases blood flow, right? It brings dopamine to the brain. Your brain is an addict for that, right? So it brings all of this up to you, and it makes everything you have to do easier. I am talking to you as a woman with ADHD. I have got to keep my dopamine as much as possible, my brain, in perimenopause. So I just want you to know, like, I feel you, I see you. There's so much, and I want you to also know, I do not wake up going, thank God it's my morning routine. I can't even wait to do it. I often wake up going, here we go, But here's the thing, when you get moving, when you start to move your body, it is just easier to move your body. And so what I will also say is you don't need motivation. It's actually not true. Motivation is the thing that is needed when you want to do something that is hard and tough. So to get started, motivation is really good. Motivation is like the starter in your car, or it's like turns it on, but then you don't need it anymore, right? You're good. So if you are waiting for motivation, it's not something that will happen daily. So use it to get going. But then what has to come into place is just simple routine habits. And so one of the greatest things that I ever did for myself is just like, and being a Pilates instructor for as many years as I have, and so many people saying, I will have this goal, and then investing in the goal with money, but then not the time and not following up with it. I was like, why do people do this? Why do people buy things and spend money on things and sign up for things and then quit? Like, what is going on?
Through.
Right. And also high achieving women, like, this is not like, so I was like, what is the thing? And so what I discovered in studying how habits are truly created is that we tend to get all or nothing in our mindset about how things are supposed to look or be. So if we don't have, like, if we are 10 minutes late to something, well, we might as well not do it because now we only have 20 minutes to do it. And it's like, actually, if you can do what is possible, always when it comes to your movement practice, and you can make that the habit, and you compare it with something that's easy, right? Not like, oh, a bell goes off, but just like, oh, I'm already on the ground doing this thing, so I'm also gonna, every time I do this thing on the ground, I'm gonna do 5 push-ups, or I'm gonna hold a plank or whatever. If you can do that, what happens is your brain starts to seek out these opportunities, these little movement snacks, and it becomes easier to do. And then because you start to feel better, it becomes easier to do it more often, and the time that you can dedicate to it comes to it. But when you are waiting for that motivation, you will go, oh, I'm not motivated today, and there's this other thing I have to do. No, I get up and I do my walk every morning. I do my Pilates every morning, because when I'm done, I'm so glad I did it. And then there are some days I'm motivated to do more, but most of the time it's like, well, my habits and routines have made this space, and I'm going to go do that, and I know I'll feel better when it's over. And I share that because I think so many people look at someone else's grass and go, look how green it is, and they love what they're doing. No, I see my neighbor run it every day, and sometimes he has a smile on his face, and sometimes he doesn't, but it's his routine. And so, we just got to find a way to put these things into this busy schedule, but put them in minutes and moments that you can, not like, oh, I have to wait to have an hour. Like that's not going to happen. We know that.
Right. Super important. I love the name movement snacks. So if someone listening right now doesn't have the consistent motivation, right? Like you said, which is super normal, doesn't have the healthy habits, doesn't have a morning routine. And for a lot of people, the morning routine is you are with your kids. Like, you are making lunches. It's summer now. They might be going to summer camp. They might, all these things. Can we talk about the mindset, the beliefs? Can we talk about some foundational pieces that that you need to have, and that, working moms need to have, so that they can start building in the little movement breaks from the day? And maybe sometimes, I do a lot of 25-minute workouts. I never do an hour. I used to pre-kids, but for me, it's 25 minutes, not every day. But talk about the beliefs and the mindset and the thinking that someone who's really, really busy needs to have. And, maybe I want people to maybe change their thinking a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's take a quick pause for something that can really support you. If you constantly question if you are good enough as a working mom and desperately want to feel happier, I'd love to invite you to a complimentary discovery call with me. In 45 minutes, we'll get clear on what is out of alignment, what you want your days to feel like, and 2 to 3 simple changes you can make immediately to feel calmer and more confident. It's completely free, and it's a chance for us to connect and see if the Feel Good Club for Working Moms or one-on-one coaching might support you. To grab a spot, go to tiagraham.com/discovery call. That's tiagraham.com/discovery call, and pick a time that works for you.
I know that this is what you teach, and your show really talks about the.
Oh yeah, you gotta be it till you see it. So you have to think about the woman that you wish was already happening. Okay, if I was a woman who made time for myself and I had time and I worked out every day, how do I make different decisions, right? So if you act from the finish line, the goal, right? And that might not mean it happens tomorrow, right? So if the goal is I am a woman who spends 30 minutes a day for myself, 5 minutes meditating, 20 minutes moving, 5 minutes reading some sort of, I have a beautiful book I read every morning that has a daily motivational thing, right? That is, by the way, just so you know, 30 minutes is 2% of your day. So a mindset shift you need to have is that you are a woman who deserves to prioritize yourself for 2% of your day. 2% of your day. Now, if we cannot get 30 minutes at one pit, that's okay. We could do 10, 10, and 10, right? We can figure this out. And another thing in your mind is I'm a woman who can figure this out. Talking positively about yourself in your brain. And if you need to put Post-its everywhere, your kids are going to see wonderful motivation affirmations. I think that's great.
Right.
We are
The
a family
modeling.
who, yeah, the modeling. We are people who move our bodies. We are people who speak kindly to ourselves. Put those things everywhere. So I feel for you, parents. Oh my God, I do not know how any parent actually has a job or a life. I'm going to be honest. I live in Nevada, and I think the kids are never in school. My dad is a crossing guard, 74 years old, and I'm like, do you have work today? He's like, no, they're not in today. I'm like, they're never in 5 days a week. You never work five. I don't know how anyone does it. So two things I would say is, so there's the mindset of like the be it till you see it. If I was this woman who already did this, how would I respond to this email request to volunteer yet again in my kid's classroom? My loves, I bet you there's another mom who needs to do it. You do not need to
I
worry
don't
about that.
volunteer for all the things. No.
No, be the last, be the last. Oh, you need someone? Oh, yeah, be the last ditch effort. Don't be the first one to raise your hand in this stuff
Because some of those women are not working also in a company, or they don't have their own company,
yeah,
right?
there are some
That's a
people
different journey.
correct. There are people who need that. If I volunteer at a place and I want to be the volunteers there all the time, I don't have the time. So they take me when they can get me, and they love that. So that is, you can be that woman, especially right now when you're trying to figure out how to implement prioritizing yourself first. So the mindset shift to me that. And I also wanted to say, mindset shifting is actually one of the hardest habits to reframe in your brain. So if you are someone who negatively has self-talk, like I said I was going to do this and I didn't do it yet again, I will just say, as much as people say it's easy for you to just like repeat something else that's positive, it's actually hard for the brain because it's wired in that way, and it's a harder habit to catch that you're doing. So I just want to give you permission, that is advanced habit technique, to rechange what you're saying about yourself in your head. But if you're catching yourself, then you just have a mantra that's like, I'm a woman who prioritizes herself first. I'm a worthy of 2% of my day, right? Find a sentence. The other thing that I teach, and this is for every busy woman, but it's especially for my mom's listening. So your calendar is like a mason jar. All right. And we all know a mason jar has a lid. All right. So if everything that you need to get done in a week has to fit in the mason jar, and if it doesn't fit, the lid won't go on. So what I tend to see is people are trying to put too many things in, and they're trying to fit themselves in afterwards. So I want you to take, and you're going to have probably at least 2 schedules. You're probably going to have an in-school schedule and an out-of-school schedule. You might even have 3. There's the winter out-of-school schedule versus the summer out-of-school schedule. So there's different ones. But you're going to take this piece of paper. You're going to make 7 columns. That's your week. I like to start my week on a Monday. Some people like a Sunday, whatever you want. Then you're going to have your days of your week. And the first time hour of the day that's going to go on the left side is the time you want to wake up each day. And then the last time is a time you want to go to bed. The first thing that goes in your mason jar is, when do you sleep? Because my loves, sleep is the most important thing. And I understand if you're in perimenopause, it's the hardest thing. If you don't have sleep down, that is your number one task to do today. Advocate for yourself. Find sleep supplements. I am on 3 different ones to help me get 6.5 hours, because 7 just seems to be elusive. So I understand. Then the next thing we have to think about that goes in the calendar, and I know you're like, well, I have this whole calendar. Don't think about the calendar you have today. Have the dream calendar in mind, because then we can work with that. We can work to build towards it. So what goes in the mason jar are your calendar needs fit in 3 piles: rocks, gemstones, glitter. Your rocks are big things. They're harder to move, right? These are work schedules. These are kid drop-offs, things like that. Also rocks, time with your partner, individual time with your kids. But the most important rock, before any of that goes in, is going to also be your movement practice. What is your dream movement practice? What is your dream meditation, prioritization of self practice? You're going to put those in, right? Then you're going to put in the other family need stuff, those rocks, and your work stuff. Once those rocks and boulders are in, then we can look at, and this is where people mistake, they do not put these in second, it's your gemstones. It's the things that propel your life forward. These are going to be the hobbies. For my people who work for themselves, these are the things that actually help. They're the projects that are probably not making the money today, but they're propelling the business forward. This is your life coaching stuff. This is like where you're becoming a bigger person.
Right.
So
that personal and or professional development.
Correct. And they'll change all the time. So my gemstone time, it's actually little random spots throughout the day. And like what goes in that changes based on the week or what launch I have or what hobby I'm now interested in as an ADHD person. It changes all the time. So that's gemstone time, right? It goes in next. And then the last pile, you don't even have to schedule it. It just happens. It's glitter, right? Glitter can fit in everywhere. So if we think of our mason jar, we put our rocks in first, we put in our gemstones. The gemstones will just like fill in some spaces. And then the glitter will just take up the rest of the space. Glitter is responding to emails, responding to text messages, these phone calls. To me, glitter is anything you can do, and this is going to sound terrible, but sitting on a toilet or standing in line for coffee. If you can do it, like that means paying bills, things like that. So if you think of your things that go into your calendar in those three categories, and then you put your dream schedule together. Now what we can do is take your dream schedule and overlap it with the schedule of today. And we can go, okay, so what has to move for this to happen and what can move? So first you're going to go, whoa, I am actually prioritizing glitter. I have a scheduled email time. No, in this day and age, if something's truly an emergency, the person who emailed you will also then call and text you. Like they will get a hold of you. It will happen. But you don't have, like some of that time doesn't have to be scheduled. Anything that propels your business forward in your email, that could be scheduled. But I think you'll realize there's things that you could actually shift around, and then depending on how old your kids get, we forget they're getting older. So their responsibilities can change if they can handle that. Right. So
yeah, as they get more independent and they can do more things on their own.
Well, especially as they want it, right? So I was
Right.
teaching this schedule thing in the UK, and this woman goes, oh, I see your morning walk, and I just want to do that every day. I wish I had time for myself, but I have to get my kids to school. And I said, oh, how old are your children? And she said, well, they're 11 and 14. And I said, oh, do they have special needs, or is this like they're taking care of themselves? They can fill their backpack, all that stuff. She's like, oh yeah. And I said, do they want to go to the movies by themselves? Go on a date with someone? They have like desire to play with their friends without you there? She's like, yeah. I'm like, I just don't think they can do that if they can't make their own lunch. I was like, I know that sounds harsh. Maybe the 11-year-old needs help, but like,
Yeah.
how can we? So I said, what if we take time tonight to say, hey guys, I want to go for a walk every morning while you get ready for school. So what do we have to do tonight so that you're set up? What do I need to do? I need to help you make a sandwich? What do I need to do? Just try it out. Just ask them. Guess what?
Right.
The next day, they did their own breakfast. Was it perfect? No. Was it a little messier in the kitchen? Probably yes. And she got a morning walk in.
She got to go
And so
for a walk.
it's not going to be perfect, but like
Yeah.
I do think that for as busy, capable, we can do anything and everything. We forget that delegation can happen in certain areas and at certain times.
Yeah.
And so I just would be like, and I feel like Lesley, my kid's 6. Of course not. You're going to make
Right.
the sandwich for them. But like,
I'll share with you because I had someone, same thing, and I don't go for a walk every morning, but I do go for walks and, do other exercise. I had a mom message me, how do you go for a walk? Same thing. How do you go for a walk in the morning before your kids go to school? My kids are 9 and 11. My 11-year-old is special needs. And I wrote back very honestly, because my husband's home, I said, oh, I give them some screens sometimes. And like, that's, is that perfection? Would some people judge? Which I literally don't care because it's like what works for me and what works for them. And, my daughter uses screens, like it helps her regulate to be able to do a lot of other stuff.
yeah.
So the 30 minutes, like you're saying, it's like you can always come up with different reasons on why not. But what you're saying is, and I agree with you, is it is a rock and plan for it. And I think so many working moms plan for kids and plan for work.
Yeah.
And that's in the calendar. And their self, it's like the glitter or the sand, right? It's like, oh, maybe when I think about it, it's like the wrong way to
they've
think
put
about it.
themselves as a glitter, and you are the most important rock.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I listened to somebody else who was like, who said, people are going to sound like this is terrible, but like, my marriage comes before my children,
And your marriage is the number one relationship example for your kids, right? It's going to affect theirs. So,
yes.
And I want to know, everything we're saying, it's not easy. Of course, like work, there's so much more you could always be doing for work and your kids have lots. And so, what we're saying is important.
I would say to you, I'm sure neither one of us get our to-do list done every day.
No.
Ever.
Oh God, no. And there's always stuff added to the to-do list. And yes, there's
Yes,
always more. And I've heard many people say this, like work will always fill every second. There's
yes.
always more.
Yes. And
Yeah.
it's I mean, I'm sitting in this podcast room that I love, and my husband and I've had so much extra work going on that we created, but like the snowball picked up a little faster. So this is our Monica closet right now. If you remember Friends, like it's just
Yeah.
everything just goes in there and you can't see it on the screen, and that's where it's at because it will get done when it needs to, but what I cannot sacrifice is the things that make me feel so good in my body that I can be part of my marriage and I can be there for the people who, like if we're really honest with ourselves, if we do not prioritize ourselves, our sleep, our movement practice, the things that make us feel whole, we do not respond to our names or mom or any of those things as sincerely and generously and loving as we want to.
Yeah.
You don't.
No,
You
you're more
eventually
negative, more reactive.
yes.
Yes. Yes. I want to ask you about confidence. And
Yeah.
you didn't put this as a specific question, but there's some, I wanted to ask you about this because since I've met you and since I've known you and everything you're doing, and even I know about your career like before that you were doing this, and I believe, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, but I believe that you are quite a confident person. Is that right?
I exude a lot of confidence, and inside I'm a little bit scared most of the time.
Okay, okay, great. So that's okay. So,
I'm
like most people, like, yeah, so you exude a lot of confidence and you're scared and you have
yeah.
fear and you're maybe unsure, insecure about things, but you are presenting, and it doesn't seem like it's like this inauthentic. It's that, yeah, you're scared and you're doing it anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
So,
I don't know. I thought that's how a lot of people do it. But
okay, so can you talk about how you do that? And I want you to think about um, in career, right? Because the person listening of exuding that confidence or walking the walk, right?
Mhm.
As an entrepreneur or in a corporation, in an organization. And also, and I know you don't have kids, but I believe that you can talk about it in this way too, is moms have never been moms before, and you're constantly faced with new challenges, curveballs, kids giving negative feedback, or, there's all these things. And yet you don't want to be living in this place of like where you're constantly like, shit, am I a good mom? Am I doing this right? And
Oh, yeah.
so if you could talk about those two and kind of how you do it and advice,
Yeah.
I think this would be really helpful for the listener.
I think I can because I can kind of lean into, the industry that I'm in. It's quite popular, the Pilates industry right now, but people don't realize that like 20 years ago it was popular amongst people who knew what it was,
Yeah.
but it was very much a hierarchy. So, for example, I'm a second generation Pilates instructor, and that does not mean my mother was. It means my teacher learned from Joe Pilates. So it's like this weird,
Got it.
weird lineage
Yeah.
thing. And so, who trained you mattered. Right. And so when I would go into a space, it's like, oh, well, you were trained by so-and-so who was trained by so-and-so, but it's watered down. So I'm going to go like, I don't have anything to learn from you. I'm going to go over here. And so I had to learn how to be like confident without other people telling me I'm doing a good job, because other people were judging my job based on things that are outside my control. And so I think I'm sure parents, I don't even know how you all do it with this and social media stuff right now. And there's so many people telling you what's a good parent and what's not a good parent. But what I will tell you that I did to make sure I understood how I could be confident in what I was doing. Did my clients feel seen? Did they feel loved? Did they feel heard? Did they feel helped? And I feel like you can translate to your children. Do they feel seen?
Children
Do they feel
and work.
loved?
Yeah, say it again. Seen, loved, heard.
Seen, loved, heard, and helped. Right?
Yeah,
Like,
and this is whether you're a leader at work,
yes.
whether you, like you said, you're an entrepreneur and you have clients, and then as the parent of,
Yeah.
and what you're saying is don't think about yourself.
Yeah. You can't, I think you'll get too in your head. I had to stop waiting for me, the firstborn parentified daughter to give me credit for what I
We
was
got that
doing.
in common. We got that in common.
Yeah, I had to, she is not going to give me, the loving praise, because that's not really what was taught to me. So what I had to do was notice the response of the people that I was paying attention to, that were coming to me and were my clients, and the people that I worked with. I ran jewelry stores and I ran Pilates studios later on. And it's like, do these teachers feel uplifted? Do they, that doesn't mean that they're gaslit. Doesn't mean I'm not a tough love person. Doesn't mean they weren't sat down and told, hey, here's where I see you're doing amazing things, and here's where we need to work on some support. But in a way that makes people feel like there is options and possibilities, right? Like, it doesn't mean I didn't write people up, but also like, let's come up with a game plan that you can succeed. What do you want to do? You said you want to do this. It's not working out. How can we make a new plan, right? So I think, if you're waiting for outside validation of whether or not you're doing a good job, you might get it. Like, I am very lucky where I'm at in my career today. I get lots of affirmation, and that stuff could actually derail the track that I'm on. There, you can't listen to all. You'll just be like in a big head, and also maybe end up creating something you don't want. Like, I have people who are like, you should do this and you should do that, and it's like, if I only listen to the outside affirmations, I might be on the wrong track. So we gotta figure out, how do we listen? So for the moms and the bosses, it's like, how do you listen to the people who you are supporting and guiding and leading? And do they feel seen? Do they feel heard? Do they feel loved? And do they feel helped? And then the other thing is, like, if you feel like you're lacking confidence in something, I think it's important to get data. My husband, has been very helpful in my life as a sounding board on these things. But like, I've told this story before, but one of the first times I had to teach a really massive class, this is many years ago, and I was invited to teach this class, and in the front row were all these people who traveled in to be at this inaugural event. They'd never done Pilates before. And I'm like, wow, okay, so I have to teach brand new people in a group class. The second row were a bunch of people in my industry. They weren't there for nefarious reason. They were there for support, but they don't teach like I do. We like are literally opposite ends of the spectrum of what the idea of Pilates is. And I'm like, okay, and I have these people who have a different lens of expectations. And I had 50 other people who were just there. Were they there because I was the only class that had room? I don't know. Were they there because they liked me? And I said to him, I said, is the mic on? And he goes, no. And I said, I don't know if I can do this. I'm a little nervous. And he goes, you're just going to do what you always do. Right? You're just going to do what you always do. So like, I'll just say, if you have a little shake in you, often it means that you care. You're probably not a narcissist. You want people to get a good experience. That is huge.
And you want to be a good mom. And it's like, you care.
You care. It means you care.
I love what he just said though. And I want to repeat it. It's like, when you feel uncertain, whether it's in your career or you feel unsure or a little shaky, a little nervous, a little anxious, or you're not sure if you are, doing the right thing as a mom, right? In both of these big areas of your life, is reconnecting of like, do what you've always done. Like, you are good. You are enough. You are, like, kind of just get out of your head and take action.
Yes. And here's what I'm also say. Action is the antidote to fear. It is also what brings clarity. And then the thing, because you mentioned confidence, I think is, I wanted to say where confidence actually comes from, what they know confidence comes from, is not waiting until you feel ready. It is actually, if you do things that you said you will do, you will have confidence in yourself.
Basically following through and being accountable to yourself.
Yes, which is why it's so important. You cannot be an all or nothing mindset when it comes to these changes in the movement, practice, and prioritization of self you want to do. It means today I was like, I'm running a little late. Should I go volunteer? Like, I told them I would next week, but maybe I'll just do it tomorrow. And I was like, no, I'm a person who does what they said they're going to do. So I'm going to go. And because I did that, when stuff happens, when things outside your control, or you're put on a stage that's bigger than you've experienced, when a thing happens with your kid that's just outside of the experience you have had so far, because you have the record, the history of being able to figure it out, you will have the confidence to figure it out. Mm-hmm. And I think that is something I can lean on, this many years into my career, when I do something new, I no longer wait for the outside validation. I like wait for my inner validation. I test it amongst people I whose opinions of me matter. And then I do the thing. And if I get the extra credit from the other people, that's a bonus.
Right. But you're not doing it because of that, or yes.
Oh, you can't, because you guys, they just keep changing where the bar is. They
Right.
keep changing.
And there's
What is
always
a good
people
mom? What's a
doing
great
different
boss?
things.
Great bosses, you see people who use the disc method, and now great bosses are people who do this other thing over here. Like great moms were like, it changes so much. And so I think like really getting honest with who you want to be. I mean, that's the podcast I'll have you on. Like, who do you want to be? And then acting like that person just a little bit every day, filtering it through decisions. And then also you're going to make mistakes. I make them all the time.
Oh yeah. Constantly. If you're not making mistakes, you must not be doing anything, because being alive, whether it's work, marriage, career, all, parenting, etc. Like, so I love it in that you connect to who you're helping, whether it's, kids, clients, people on your team, about seen, loved, heard, helped. And you also said uplifted. And I also wrote down like coach, and it kind of goes back to that jar analogy too, that you are planning for how you want to live, how you want to feel, what you want to do. And then you are following through with yourself. And as you are doing that, you're going to have challenges, you're going to, learn new things, and you're going to figure things out. And so then when you're faced with a new thing that's making you not feel confident, is reminding, I think, good old Marie Forleo, right? Of like, everything is figure outable.
Yeah, it is.
Of just that reminder. I love it all. So in addition to everything you've said, what is another tip or action that helps you feel good, since this is the Feel Good Club podcast, that helps you feel good, that you think could help the listeners feel good too? One other thing that helps you.
Oh my gosh. So I will say, if you are a morning person, make sure you see the sunrise. And if you are an evening person, look for the moon. I know those things sound a little woo, so we're like, everything's been so strategic, but those are two things I do every day, because I wake up early. I do wake up, like this morning, I was locking the door to the house and I was like, oh, it's pink on my wall. And I looked, and the pink orange sun was coming just up above. I live in Vegas, so it was just coming up above the strip, skyline. And I was like, wow, look at that. And then, I love looking at how the sky changes, the colors depending on the year. Like that's what I do every morning, because it does take you out of your brain stuff that is going to just...
The emotion of awe.
Yeah. If you are like me, you wake up and as soon as your brain realizes what day it is, you're like, oh, I got this to do, this to do. Like my brain, but like it just, it hits pause for me. And then I always look at the moon, because the moon, it changes in the sky. It changes shape. Sometimes it looks like a smile. Sometimes it looks like a thumbnail. Sometimes it's this big, bright thing. And so either of those two things I think can really help. Mm-hmm. And if you are a busy parent, I don't see what could be wrong about your kids seeing either of those things each day. Mm-hmm. And so they could do it with you. But those are just easier things. And if you're like, I live somewhere where that's impossible, then find something to be in awe about. Outside. Yeah. Get outside though.
Get outside and nature.
Yes.
I looked at the moon last night with my little one, and we moved 6 weeks ago to Newport Beach, and from our top terrace we see the sunset every single night. It is so beautiful. And it just, I love it. And my younger daughter's bedroom is also upstairs, so that's like, so she loves looking at it. So good. Lesley, where can people learn more about you, find you, and follow you?
Oh yeah. So you can learn more about me. I mean, my Instagram is me. I run it. It's all me. It's what's on my mind and what's going on. So it's just Lesley.Logan. But if you are wanting to start a movement practice, you want to get into something, I do actually have that might be applicable for you guys. It's just a free workshop series with a 15-minute workout. It's called fullbodyin15.com. And it is a workshop on how to do about 20 Pilates exercises, including answering people's questions about modifications. And then at the end, it's a 15-minute workout, full body, does the whole thing. You can add it before a weight training session you do, after a run you do. You can do whatever you want. So the goal is that you actually teach yourself. And if you're like, no, I really want to be guided, my YouTube channel is Online Pilates Classes. We have a ton of free stuff on there. And then if you want accountability, a great community, then onlinepilatesclasses.com is where you want to go. We actually are the only online platform that I know of that actually has accountability and habits building built in. We also give feedback on form. So if you're like, I don't know if I'm doing this right, my perfectionist, I see you. We have that built in. You can actually submit like, this is how I'm doing the exercise, but I feel it in my neck. And I am the person who provides that feedback. So you can do that. And if you like the sound of this voice, Be It Till You See It is a podcast. We'll have Tia on, and it'll be an amazing conversation. And it's just something that I did. It's not about Pilates. It's just about like life, like what people always ask me, you have so much confidence. And I'm like, I'm literally on a roller coaster screaming inside, going up and down, but great. So how have I done this? So I bring on different guests who can talk about the different ways we can be it till we see it and be inspired. So, yeah.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you for coming on today, and I hope to see you again soon.
I hope so too.
Thank you for joining me on the Feel Good Club show. I hope today's episode left you feeling inspired and equipped to take on your day with confidence, self-love, and joy. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your fellow ambitious working moms. Remember, you are not alone on this journey. We're all here to support each other in feeling good and living our best lives. Until next time, take care and be hopeful. And remember, prioritize your happiness.